And welcome back, everybody. We are here for the 2023 Pokemon Utrecht special event, Round 9. The final one, of course, for day 1 from this weekend. I am Dimos, and this is the ever so lovely Mr. Simon van der Bocht, aka Schmo.
Exactly. We're proud here to bring you the last round of today, meaning there's only a few players that can still make it into the next day as well. It is very interesting. If you have that score of 7 wins and 2 losses, that means you are in, and that means you get to play tomorrow another 5 rounds, and after those 5 rounds you get to try your best at that top 8 as well.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different intricacies when it comes to reaching that final stage of Top Cut, but the most important thing is to look at what's in front of you at the current moment. These players, whoever is currently at 6 and 2, do still have that opportunity and chance to reach the coveted Day 2 Swiss. But we are going to have a very, very cool matchup, which has been rumored to us that will be appearing, but we're not going to spoil it just yet. We're just going to give a very quick look at the current standings right now to have a bit more of an overview of what's currently going on, where each of our trainers are currently at their path towards Day 2 Swiss.
Yes, exactly. And as you can see on screen right over there, we have 3 players that are still 8-0. That is some amazing mental capacity to try and, like, 8 rounds is a long time. Don't get me wrong. You might have those best of 3s as well. Like, those are like 50 minutes rounds that you have to keep playing on the highest level of Pokemon. And this is the final one to do it. So one of the, well, maybe even 2 players might go out with that beautiful 9-0 score as well.
Exactly. It's very demanding.
Yeah.
Right? It's demanding both physically and mentally. You need to make sure that they are both in sync in order for you to perform at your best. So quite a few 7-1s at the current moment. We've got a couple of those names that seem to not have actually left. So
yeah, exactly. They're still there.
Well, yeah, they've done remarkably well.
Honestly,
so
yeah.
I think we've got like Tamar Rabui, Niels Dunslop. We've got a couple of Dutch representatives, Andres Escobosa, a well-known player too, especially with the Dutch community. So being able to see him do so well is really, really good. We've got that local representation going.
The locals will be happy with that, to see that. Yeah. And just seeing as well, like Eric Rios with that 8-0, Federico Camporosi with that 8-0, and Alex Gomez with 8-0. It's honestly, it's mind-boggling to see people doing so well. But of course, we are not here to disrespect on all the other players, because 7-1 is also very impressive to do. Because look at all these names being able to play Pokemon so well, and we get to enjoy more of that tomorrow.
Well, exactly. They're already guaranteed Day 2 Swiss, so all of these trainers will be with us tomorrow morning. However, talking about the 7-1s, we do have the 6-2s, so they are in a very, in a bit of a predicament, because they are in the moment where they have to win to get in. If they do not, they will unfortunately not be able to reach Day 2 Swiss. They are still in competition to actually get championship points rewarded to them based on their final placement. But we've got a couple of really well-known names there as well for the 6-2 players. Edu, we've already featured, our current world champion, reigning world champion. Quite a few other trainers too. Nate White, which we have featured.
We have featured as well. Yep.
A lot of different representation across various regions within Europe.
Yeah, this is of course the final round for a lot of these players that we see on the screen, that they will fight till the bitter end, of course, to try, because their back is against the wall, and when your back is against the wall, you are willing to pull out all the stops. The adrenaline starts rushing, and you are gonna try and make sure that you get that 7-2 reward as well.
Well, exactly. You got to be in the flow, right? If you're in the flow and you're feeling like, okay, good, I'm in a situation where I've done incredibly well for 6 matches. Unfortunately for the 2, I have dropped.
It happens.
It happens. But if you're able to retain and capture that flow to propel yourself into Day 2, that is what you're looking for. You need to find those little moments of courage inside yourself, as well as trust in understanding that your subconscious will roughly know what to do. It'll give you a couple of hints and say, you know what, I don't think that's going to pick up a KO, Drosta. Are you sure about that? And you actually sometimes do have to listen to that voice because it might be right.
It might definitely be right. Like, as we've seen in the last round, something that surprised me, for example, seeing that headlong rush from the Great Tusk go into the King Gambit, and the King Gambit shrugging it off and still alive and kicking. Well, not so much kicking as it's always sitting down, but it is one of those things that you have to keep account of because, yes, we have the player list. Yes, we know the moves, we know the Pokemon, we know the Terra types, but it's that training, that secret training that the people don't know.
Secret sauce.
The secret sauce, exactly.
Sauce.
We've got the entire burger, but not the secret sauce. We want to know. It is very important to know what it is that makes your team tick, and if your opponent can't figure it out, that just might be the winning ticket.
Well, exactly. I think that's the situation. You just want to make sure that you learn and grab as much information as you can whilst in the game, the interactions with the speed tiers, how bulky or, let's say, a glass cannon-like a Pokemon is. But we have a match of the century for you. A battle between two of the finest Italian players out there. On the left-hand side, we have Arash Ommati, our current only European world champion, something that he claimed all of his own back in 2013, where he did go up against Jody Azzarelli in the finals, multi-champion as well, world's top 8. Versus Leonardo Bonanomi, a very fine Italian player too on his side of the field, 2023 World's Top Cut. We have seen him do substantially well during the online event sort of era where we had the Players' Cup, we had the Global Exhibition as well. So some really good immersive sort of action coming out from this player within those sort of times. Being able to bring that now straight into the live events is something super, super crucial and fantastic to see from him.
Exactly. Like, if we're just looking at the numbers, the most recent, like, titles, so to say, are going to Leonardo, of course, but that doesn't mean that much, really. If we're looking at, like, the endurance that some players keep putting out of still learning the new games and adapting to every time when a new game arrives to that top level that they have as well, that different thinking that can get them this far as well.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I could remember back to, for example, we've got Arash, he's got many years of experience. I actually can recall his Germany national champion winning team where he did actually have, it may have been the, no, actually, I was thinking of 2016 with his Jumpluff and Yveltal Groudon team, which we brought, which was quite ferocious. And we have actually seen a bit of action with Jumpluff going into the series. Interestingly enough, you know, you thought Lilligant is the only chlorophyll user. No, you were mistaken. Jumpluff is actually a really cool contender to take into consideration, especially when you've got an item such as the Clover Cloak attached to it.
Exactly. It is a pretty interesting item on its own, and you have that Jumpluff, of course, having that potential for Sleep Powder, but you have other moves such as Tailwind, for example, just trying to boost a little bit more of that speed for your other Pokemon in the back, because, of course, when, like, for example, the Torkoal does tend to go down, you have a lot of Paradox Pokemon that can come in and really threaten a lot of the things as well that are on the field with Fluttermane, the, well, all the past Paradoxes really all just showing how strong that they are.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're bringing all of that ferocious power from the past straight into the present. But taking a very quick look at both of these trainers' teams, from Arash's side, we are going to be seeing the Amoonguss, Iron Bundle, Dragonite, Great Tusk, King Gambit, and the Fluttermane. We've seen Focus Sash being quite a consistent item for Great Tusk. You're able to sort of pair that up with a flying type on the side. Maybe if that flying type can have access to any form of speed control, that would be lovely. But being able to have very minimal special defensive bulk is a bit unfortunate for Great Tusk. However, being able to position itself where at least against an Iron Bundle, you know that you can survive 2 hits as opposed to 1 is really, really important.
it is very important because there's a lot of special attacking Pokemon there, and we have to manage to be able to see what actually on the opposing side, and that is the Kingambit, Brute Bonnet, Arcanine, Iron Bundle, Fluttermane, and the Dragonite. Very interesting to see. The first thing that I noticed from this team is that this Dragonite is bringing the greatness back of Choice Band.
Oh,
Choice Band, of course, being an item that boosts your attack by quite a bit there, but it locks you in one only attack, meaning it can go for that very strong extreme speed or the potential to go for that super duper strong Terra Blast as well, with that kind of adaptability boost with that Terra Flying.
I think exactly. We've got to take into consideration that pairing up Terra Blast with the Flying Terra type, further bolstering it with the Choice Band, means that it will most definitely pack a bit of a punch. Something to take into consideration. But we do actually have the leads coming out straight into the action. No time to lose. Over on Leonardo's side, you're going to be seeing the Kingambit and the Dragonite versus the Kingambit and Amoonguss on Arash's side. And a very quick note to make, we do have a lot of similarities when it comes to both of these trainers' teams and the archetypes of which they've been constructed by.
Exactly, we do see a small difference. One has the Amoonguss and one having the Brute Bonnet. And as we see on the field itself, the Amoonguss is on the field together with the Kingambit. Nice colored in blue together. Just having that team spirit really. While on the other side we have the Dragonite and the opposing Kingambit. And Kingambit is a very interesting Pokemon, very bulky, but it has that 4x weakness to any kind of fighting type moves. And we do see the terrestrialization onto that Dragonite right now. That Choice Band of Dragonite, ooh, looking like it will do something quite powerful, so to say.
I think it will, as it is a pseudo-legendary, which deserves all of the respect. I mean, there's an argument to say that it got a lot of respect with all of the coverage it actually has in its utility. But we're going to be seeing the Kingambit over on the other side go for the Fire-type Terra in order to better position itself against any offensive moves that want to try to target it down. We're going to be seeing the Amoonguss goes for the Protect. Terra Blast actually ignores the Amoonguss. It goes for the Fire Terra type onto the Kingambit, and it picks up the one-hit KO. Critical hit.
This is a huge turn one, especially calling out that the Amoonguss went for the Protect. Kingambit even still going for the low kick, trying to cover in case that the Kingambit on Arash's side would not terrify. This was a huge play, like a huge Terra going in for the Dragonite, a huge Terra for that Kingambit as well, and just both options covered there.
I am flabbergasted. That was such an intense, offensive, decisive turn one. All of a sudden, Arash's Terra mechanic is gone. It's out of the window, as well as Kingambit's hopes and dreams for game one. We've got a situation where Amoonguss is trying to go for the double protect. It does not want to get hit by this flying Terra Blast from the Dragonite. Freeze Dry, maybe in hopes of picking up a freeze there, but no can do. Terra Blast will target down the Amoonguss, will pick up the KO, and my lord, what a strong start for Leonardo going into this game one.
It was an amazing turn one. This turn one only has put it in such a well position, doing a little bit of Iron Head damage as well to this Iron Bundle. Well, a little bit, let's be honest. It did over 50% as well, meaning only the Fluttermane in the back is coming in together with this Iron Bundle. Obviously, a nice combo to have, but not when suddenly like half your team is just gone in 2 turns.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot to take into consideration. Resource management, it's just gone. It's out of the window. There are no resources left. There's just 2 Pokemon right now. Iron Bundle is below half of its HP. Sure, there is, of course, the Fluttermane to take into consideration, but the Kingambit doesn't really care about it. I think it's just in a really good position where it's like, okay, cool, I'll handle you. All I need to do is just focus down on the Iron Bundle to get rid of it.
Okay, and with the multi-scale gone, whoa. With the multi-scale gone, we see the freeze right into the Dragonite. The Dragonite still surviving, still being on the field. This Dragonite putting in work from day one. Iron Head into the Iron Bundle going down, and I just have no words. The amount of level of thinking that Leonardo is showing right now, the level of skill of knowing what his Pokemon will survive and just reading your opponent from time to time. It is like it's He went to the library, got the book on Arash, and just read through it.
Well, I mean, yes, but we do need to take into consideration that critical hit in turn 1 was very decisive. It already put Arash on the back foot, where he didn't have a lot of wriggle room or being able to actually have flexible plays to make. It was just so decisive, I think, and it's the fact that Kingambit not only is a really powerful Pokemon, it goes down in one hit, especially due to the Fire Terror type. But we do need to give appreciation to the amazing turn 1 play that Leo did make with the prediction of the Fire Terror type, which enabled the RNG just to flow that tiny bit into his side of the field, just awarding him, or should I say rewarding him with that level of play.
Exactly. It was quite impressive to see, because even the Kingambit going for the low kick, just knowing that Amoonguss went for Protect, trying to cover even if the Flying Terra wouldn't KO the Kingambit, because let's be honest, Kingambit is one of the bulkiest Pokemon that there is, and like it might have survived if not for that critical hit. And then we also need to take in considering the speed ties that could happen, or like the way the Kingambits are trained, which one would have been faster, because of course both of them do have the option of hurting one another, making sure that the Dragonite, its multi-scale would have been broken, for example. Right. And yeah, the opposing Kingambit, as we saw, does have the option of low kick as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there was that double up, right? Just in case. So Leonardo was expecting, okay, I don't anticipate my choice band Terra flying Dragonite to pick up a KO, but I expect it to be within the range to just barely miss. I'll just follow up with a low kick just to make sure that I do pick up the KO. But just going ahead and doing that, I guess it doesn't really matter as much, the critical hit, because we can confirm low kick being the choice of move from Kingambit side on from Kingambit on Leo's side, means that the Kingambit on Arash's side was still going to go down. It was still going to be KO'd, given the fact that Leo made that really advanced level of play of a read and say, okay, cool, yes, there's a steel type. No, I do not see a steel type that will resist my flying Terra Blast. I will just target that slot.
I pretend I do not see it. It is not there. And yeah, turn 1 turn it was no longer there.
Yeah.
But
it's true. Very true.
But yeah, being put on the back foot like that immediately, that is of course because like getting a bit flustered with a critical hit. These players have been playing for a while, and like something like a critical hit is super detrimental, as we see the Kingambit and Dragonite lead again from Leonardo's side, while we do see a switch up here with the Great Tusk and the Amoonguss this time. Both beautiful shinies, but let's take a look, because the Great Tusk itself is very interesting because it does have the coverage to hit this Kingambit, but it does not have a lot of moves to hit that Dragonite with.
No, it really doesn't, and I think in this situation, Arash is just trying to counterplay the offensive pressure coming out from Leo's side. It's quite tough. Maybe you can put yourself into a position that you can Terra type your Amoonguss in order to survive the oncoming flying Terra Blast from the Dragonite, get a Spore guaranteed into that slot in order to try and slow down its momentum.
Exactly, and we do see the switch out from the Kingambit into the Fluttermane, while we do see the Terra, those beautiful balloons again from that Dragonite. Dragonite certainly gonna enjoy clicking this another choice banded Terra Blast there. We do see the Headlong Rush, not wanting to risk to go for a close combat, possibly for that exact switch that did happen there, dropping the special defense and defense from the Great Tusk and the Terra Blast from the Dragon into the Amoonguss, trying to see if it would have gone for the Protect or not. This time it didn't, and well, again, Leonardo correctly predicted that by KOing that Amoonguss immediately as well.
There's a couple of different mind games going on in that turn 1, no doubt about it. We could have seen Amoonguss go for Protect. We could have even seen Great Tusk opt to go for Protect. So knowing that at least you want to guarantee the KO onto the Amoonguss and remove any sort of capability of having redirection applied from Arash's side was something that seemed that Leo did really take advantage of, take into consideration for his flowchart in the remainder of this game. He wants to try to pick up those fast KOs. He knows at least with the Fluttermane on his side of the field, he can threaten some really good damage. It didn't go down to a Headlong Rush, but we know Iron Bundle is going to move first.
Exactly, Iron Bundle being the fastest on the field, being able to Ice Wind, not missing, luckily breaking that multi-scale on that Dragonite, meaning that it will take a bit more damage now every time it gets hit by a move. We do see the close combat from the Great Tusk into that Dragonite, doing quite a bit of damage. Of course, not enough for a KO, and the defense and the special defense are dropping from said Great Tusk, as we do see the Terra Blast coming out into that other slot again of the Iron Bundle, and the Iron Bundle going down yet again.
Going down yet again, and I think in this situation, Arash is losing too many Pokemon too quickly. The Dragonite is completely untapped and unchecked at this current point. Yes, sure, it is at half of its HP's worth, but what is there really to slow it down? Just goes to show that the dividends and the importance of multi-scale coming into effect here, making sure that, okay, I don't have enough focus, I can't get flinched, I can't get affected by Intimidate, but you know what can happen? I can also survive a lot of incoming attacks, as we've seen it do in such a great fashion.
Exactly, and now the Iron Bundle on the opposing end being switched in with that boost energy, guaranteeing that it will be faster than anything on the field. Going for that potential Icy Wind, slowing down the Great Tusk and the Flutter Mane for its for the potential Dragonite. Going again for that Terra Blast, because terrifying blast, honestly.
I mean, exactly. So it is quite terrifying. Seeing Leo actually switch the Dragonite out here, perhaps considering on saving it towards the end game if need be, making a defensive switch in here to the King Gambit, maybe in anticipation of the Flutter Mane focusing down onto that slot. And talk about Flutter Mane, we're going to be seeing the Steel Terra type come out right now from Arash. It seems to be a bit of a defensive play here in anticipation of any flying type moves going into that slot, as well as ice. The Freeze Dry does target down and bring the Great Tusk down to its Focus Sash, but oh, wait a second!
No.
But that is a freeze!
Everybody clap your... That's unfortunate of that to happen, that Great Tusk just being frozen. And it stays frozen as well! Oh, the Ice Age is coming for the Ancient Paradox Pokemon.
No, not like this!
And the Moonblast into the King Gambit, not doing that much damage because, of course, it has that Steel typing, so it would have hit neutral. But King Gambit just being so bulky, and with that Assault Vest as well, just being able to take that so well. And this is just looking very bad. Suddenly a critical hit and then a freeze.
This is looking horrible. I mean, I feel really bad for Arash right now. There's unfortunately RNG factor coming into play. Could have picked up the KO onto this Iron Bundle over on Leo's side. Maybe could have helped reposition himself, but we see the freeze there. The Protect fails. Sucker Punch will go into the Flutter Mane. Freeze Dry finishes up the job that it wasn't able to do, as the Focus Sash was blocking it from doing so in the previous turn.
Exactly, and now we do see the Moonblast coming out into that Iron Bundle, not securing the KO there, and seeing how much that Sucker Punch did from that King Gambit to this Flutter Mane. It is definitely not looking that great right now.
It's not. It really isn't. And we can see, of course, Arash does go ahead and concede that match. That was, honestly, the most high-octane set I have seen in a very long time, within 10 or 12 minutes worth of a set. I think it just goes to show the level of play when there's hyper-offensive strategies on both sides of the field. That Dragonite, honestly, Shimon, put on so much pressure for Arash's side of the field. He wasn't able to sort of reciprocate as much and retaliate because of the fact that there wasn't something that could pick up the immediate KO. Multi-scale proving to be very tough to deal with.
Yeah, for the old school anime fans, if you remember, Lance's Dragonite took quite a lot of hits, and showcasing that Dragonite can take a lot of hits as well.
It was bulky. And very powerful.
Yeah, it's crazy how bulky and powerful Dragonite can be, because it has that perfect stat distribution, and just the choice between inner focus and multi-scale can differ so much how a match is played. And as you see, if you have no intimidators, you can't really work around if they have the multi-scale.
Right.
And just multi-scale guaranteeing to have one more turn of that absolute damage it can do with that Choice Band and Terra Blast.
Yeah, I think it was very decisive plays from Leonardo's side. He knew what he wanted to do. He was like, okay, cool. I know that I can deal a lot of damage with this Dragonite as long as I can preserve it. If its multi-scale is going to be broken, cool, I'll go ahead, switch it out, make sure that's a bit safe, and bring in the King Gambit, which was a nice sort of switch out there, defensive play. But unfortunately, I think, let's just talk a bit about the elephant in the room from the Ice Age being the frozen Great Tusk. It got frozen, right? What could it have done if it was not frozen? It could have picked up the KO on the Iron Bundle. That would have subsequently led to a slower offensive pressure, or presence, should I say, coming out from Leonardo's side. He did have the Dragonite still, so even though it can take a hit, it already had multi-scale broken.
It already had multi-scale broken.
Exactly. So it could have been within range of getting KO'd by a double up via the Flutter Mane on Arash's side in combination with the Great Tusk, because we're anticipating that kind of a bulky Dragonite might not be the fastest.
Exactly. Dragonite was able to take that freeze right in the game 1 as well, when the multi-scale was already gone as well, only being super effective instead of super duper effective as a Dragon Flying typing. But seeing how the Great Tusk would actually might have gone for example, to close combat into the left slot as well, because earlier he did close combat into that Dragonite, so trying to break away a little bit more damage as we saw. And like, if that King Gambit switch was there and no freeze was there, that would have been a beautiful play there, and beautiful prediction from Arash as well.
Yeah, it really would have been, but I think just given the situations, unfortunately, Arash didn't have a lot of fuel left in the tank after a couple of decisive moves that we saw Leo did execute perfectly.
That's true. For example, we have
no hesitation.
We also have that Hamungus. Like, he clicked his moves. He wasn't playing around. Just deciding, you're not going to protect, you are going to protect. So let's switch, let's not switch. Let's choose our targets carefully. And that is also because, like, you have the options on both Pokemon to possibly protect, and that is, of course, a thing you have to keep like in mind. But just being able to call that out perfectly and doing a double up, because of course, if you do a double up and the Pokemon protects, that is not a good double up. That means the one Pokemon free to do whatever it wants. So it's very hard. That's what we saw in Game 2, that Amogus trying to go for Spore, trying to see if he would go again for that double up onto the other side, that the Amogus might have gone for a Protect. It's hard to make a decision, split-second decision like that, because you don't really have anything that you want to switch in for that Dragonite.
I think there were maybe one or two different choices that Arash could have gone for. Perhaps Terra typing into Fairy from the Amoonguss may have allowed it to survive that attack, since it would just be hitting for neutral from the Dragonite. Could Spore into the Dragonite, at least slow down its momentum. If you want to switch Amoonguss back out with the Regenerate ability, just so it could get a bit more HP later on, bring something more offensive, you can do that. But how it played out was sort of Arash was saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to expect you to expect me to protect either of these slots. I'm going to go for that. Surely you have to respect that move. But Leo was like, okay, no. I see that Amoonguss. I know what it's capable of doing. I want to get rid of that Amoonguss.
Yeah, he just wanted it gone and played that perfectly. And honestly, we can ask him in a second as well, because we are ready for that interview and listen what the game plan was there, and that secret sauce to that, of course, that Dragonite as well.
So we'll be back shortly.
Hello, Pokemon trainers. I'm here with the winner of our Swiss Round 9 match, Leonardo Bonanomi. Congratulations, Leonardo.
Thank you.
On that win. We're hoping for a longer game to end the stream today. We're hoping for a nail-biting match, but Leonardo able to clean up. And I have 3 words for you. Choice Band Dragonite. Does it always put in that much work?
Yeah, I like it a lot, Choice Band Dragonite, because with multi-scale is bulkier, and with Choice Band and Terra Blast Flying, it can do a lot of damage. And is the general thing of my team have like a bulky offensive team. I don't have too much speed control, but I have bulky mon, like multi-scale Dragonite, a Viking Gambit, or a bulkier Fluttermane, that can do a lot of damage, and at the same time the opponents, to knock them out, have to double up them. So when you double up one slot, the other slot can do whenever you want. So yeah, Dragonite put so much work in this strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was picking up knockouts most turns. It was so fascinating to see. And in that game one, on turn one, you went for the flying Terra Blast into the King Gambit, which obviously normally a move that's resisted by the steel type King Gambit. Were you predicting a Terra there on the King Gambit?
Yeah, I predicted Terra and I predicted the Protect on the Amoonguss because usually in that situation Amoonguss will protect. So I covered the play that play with low kick. So if he will protect Amoonguss like he does, low kick plus Terra Blast would have knockout the King Gambit if it rallies or not. And if he Rage Powder, I will knock out the Amoonguss and do okay damage on King Gambit. And if Amoonguss will Spore, I'm okay with that because King Gambit can do some work the next turn and I can burn sleep turns with the Dragonite. So yeah, I predict that move. The crit was lucky from my part, but I think helped me a lot, surely, but I think was not game-breaking. But yeah.
No, I don't think it was a crucial critical hit at all. Is there have you come across any opponents that the Dragonite struggles to deal with that you might expect it to take care of, or has it always pleasantly surprised you?
No, Dragonite do a lot of work in this regional and in Bochum 3 weeks ago, because in this format there are not too much flying resistance, so Dragonite put a lot of work. And if sometimes you resist like Tyranitar or some Terra Steel, Choice Band Terra Flying will do a lot of damage. Like on Terra Steel Fluttermane, usually I do like 75-80%. Against Tyranitar, I do like 35-40%, so there are a lot of damage.
Yeah, wow. It's I would expect that we'll see Choice Band Dragonite picking up a lot in usage after your performance today. Any team compositions that pose a problem for your team? Are there any opponents' teams that are problems for the team that you have?
In general, no. I think I can play against all of Archetype in this format. Yeah, there are some mons like Great Tusk can be a problem, but I feel confident with the team. I don't think I have a bad matchup in general. Yeah, Amoonguss is annoying because he can force 50-50, but I will play them, so I'm confident with the team.
Yeah, fantastic. And now you've guaranteed going into day 2. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Overnight, any experiences you've had today that you think you might need to tweak, think about with your team, rethink your matchups? What are your thoughts going into day 2?
I will play and let's see. Right now, I'm confident with the team. I'm playing a lot. It's like I'm playing with this team with 1 month, so I will play and let's see how it goes. If it goes well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's an absolutely terrific performance from you today, Leonardo. And to round off, any shout-outs you want to give at this point?
Yeah, I will shout out my friends Gaetano Di Trapani, who helped me to build this team, and the other guy like Oliver Escolin, who made the top day 2 with the same team, team composition, and Giuseppe Cangemi who helped me to optimize the spread after Bochum. So I will shout out to them. Yeah. Yeah,
fantastic. And it just goes to show how much help that friends can provide in this game, in team building and making sure you secure getting through to day 2 like Leonardo has done here. Well, congratulations again, Leonardo.
Thank you.
And now why don't we throw it back to the casters one last time to wrap up today's stream.